It's the 4th of July holiday weekend. The burgers and steaks are on the grill. The cousins are arguing about baseball, and your phone lights up on the table. It's not your mother-in-law, it's your tenant. The toilet upstairs just became a waterfall, and it's heading straight for the unit below. Welcome to your passive investment. Hope you saved enough room for dessert, because you're gonna need it. Hey, what's up, all of my real estate peeps, landlords, entrepreneurs, and real estate rock stars? This is the avatar clone of Brian Lucier from the Why Not Real Estate podcast, Golden Nuggets, the tips, tactics, and techniques that turn weekend seminar landlords into actual professionals who sleep through the night. I've been doing this for over 25 years. I ran our local landlord association for 18 of them, and I've seen up close. I've seen it in housing court, sometimes at 2 in the morning, and on weekend emergency maintenance calls. Every single way this business can go sideways on good people with good intentions. And today, I want to introduce you to somebody I run into constantly. I've got a name for them. I call them the Landlord Lone Ranger. Maybe you've met them, maybe you know them, and maybe, and I say this with love, you are them right now. Stick with me to the end. Because the difference between the Lone Ranger and a landlord who actually builds wealth comes down to about 5 phone calls he never made. And I'm going to give you every one of them. Here's how it always starts. Somebody reads a book or attends a weekend seminar, usually in a hotel conference room with bad coffee and a guy promising a Lamborghini by Tuesday. They walk out with stars in their eyes, the rent checks, the financial freedom, the early retirement, the shiny business cards that say real estate investor. So they pull the trigger and do it. They scrape together the down payment, get the financing, get the keys. Then they sit back and wait for the money to magically show up in their bank account. I hate to do this, but I've got to be the one to pop that bubble because nobody else will. That was never an investment. An investment is passive. You put your money somewhere and let it work. What you actually bought was a business, and not just any business, a customer service business, where your customers are the general public, and your business is open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with no days off, ever. Real estate is a slow-moving train. It is not a slot machine. And if you bought the building without a plan to run it like a business, you didn't make an investment. You bought yourself a job you didn't know you applied for. That's the mistake. Every Lone Ranger makes it. They confuse "I closed on a property" with "I'm in business now." Those are two completely different things. And once that bubble pops, the mistakes start piling up. Mistake number 1. They put the security deposit into their personal checking account, mixed in with grocery money. In Massachusetts, violating Chapter 186, Section 15B can cost you triple damages, attorney's fees, and the entire deposit. Not might, will. Mistake number 2. They skip screening because the applicant seemed nice. Here's a secret. Seemed nice has never paid a mortgage. Mistake number 3. They've never opened the state sanitary code, so they don't know their bonus bedroom doesn't meet code, or that they're missing a smoke detector exactly where one is required. Mistake number 4. The quiet killer. They budget nothing for vacancy, nothing for turnover, nothing for reality. Because in the dream, the units are always full, and the tenants are always perfect. Buyer beware, my friends. Or better yet, business owner, know thy laws, because ignorance of the law won't save you in housing court. So how do you fix it? You get smart, and you get smart before you get the keys, not after the upstairs toilet becomes Niagara Falls. Here's the secret nobody tells new landlords. Your first stop shouldn't be the bank. It should be City Hall. Walk the halls, meet the building inspector, meet the plumbing inspector, meet the electrical inspector, meet the board of health, meet the assessor's office. Learn the neighborhoods, the good ones, the bad ones, and everything in between. Ask questions. Which laws affect rental property owners? Where do I stay updated? What regulations are changing? What resources should I be reading? Because every answer you get today could save you thousands tomorrow. And let me clear up a myth. The Board of Health is not the enemy. Most landlords avoid that office like the plague. Big mistake. I make it one of my first stops because the property file is a gold mine. Inspection history, complaints, corrections, recommendations. Inspectors will often tell you exactly what good looks like, for free, before you spend a dime. The Housing Authority, Section 8. And before anyone says it, no, that's not why I'm sending you there. I'm sending you there because they have checklists, standards, inspection requirements, and valuable relationships. Knowledge is power, and these agencies hand it out every day. Then learn your building code, because this catches people all the time. A 3-family property may feel residential, but in building code language, it's commercial. Different book, different rules, different requirements. You need to know that before you buy, not after. And finally, take a landlord attorney to lunch, but choose wisely. Spend an afternoon in housing court. Watch who wins. Watch who the judge respects. Watch who knows the process. That's your lawyer. Ask them which laws govern landlords in your market. Ask them what mistakes they see every day. Because ignorance of the law is no excuse. And housing court reminds landlords of that every single day. The landlords who survive and thrive do this homework before the purchase, not after the emergency call. They treat City Hall like a resource, not an obstacle. They treat the Board of Health like a partner, not a threat. They understand code requirements before making an offer, not after failing an inspection. In short, they run their properties like businesses, because that's exactly what they are. They keep security deposits in proper escrow accounts. They maintain documentation. They inspect proactively, and they always have a plan. The Lone Ranger is still hoping the rent checks show up. The professional landlord already knows what happens when the pipe bursts at midnight and has a system for handling it. Which brings me to the most important lesson of all. Team. Even the Lone Ranger had Tonto. The guy famous for doing everything alone didn't actually do it alone. You need your posse, your attorney, your inspector, your Board of Health contact, your housing authority relationships, your contractors, your construction supervisor, your property manager. This is not a solo sport. It never was. And the landlords who skip building their team, they're not saving money. They're just delaying the bill, usually with interest. And here's the lesson that changed everything for me. I didn't learn this alone. I learned it sitting in rooms with other landlords, sharing stories, sharing mistakes, sharing lessons. That's why I spent 18 years leading the Northern Worcester County Landlord Association, because a room full of people who have already made the mistakes you're about to make is worth more than any seminar you'll ever buy. Masslandlords.net, your local landlord association, regional investor groups. Find them, show up, ask questions, trade stories, build your posse before you need it, not after. So let's go back to that 4th of July barbecue. The Lone Ranger answers that call alone, panicking, Googling emergency plumbers at 9 p.m. on a holiday. The professional landlord, he answers calmly, because the maintenance contact is already in his phone. The building history is already documented, and the team that's supposed to be riding with him is already riding. Get educated, take action, and build your posse, because even the Lone Ranger had Tonto, and you, my friend, were never meant to do this solo. If this saved you from becoming the Lone Ranger, do me a favor. Share it with the next person you know who just got the keys to their first building. And to all of my real estate peeps, investors, entrepreneurs, and rock stars, this is Brian Lucier from the Why Not Real Estate podcast, Golden Nuggets. Signing off, and we'll see you on the next one.